When Chip Kelly got hired by the Oregon Ducks, they were a middling program, and he almost instantly turned them into a powerhouse who were competing for national championships. He introduced a brand new style of play to the Ducks that not only changed his program, but altered the way college football was played by a ton of teams going forward. I boiled his offense down to 5 main aspects that we will design our scheme around to ensure we can put the same pressure and strain on defenses. The first aspect was their spread to run identity. This is what made them so different, is that they were a spread offense, but their primary goal was to use this to run the ball. Over their most successful 4-year run, they ran for 300 yards per game, and they ran the ball 48 times per game and passed it only 29, which was a complete 180 from the rest of the spread offense playing college football at the time. The first play we're looking at to use this aspect of the spread to run is the RPO read double screen. First, we want to do a box count, and if that number is 6 or less, then we want to run this ball every single time. This gives us 5 blockers versus 5 of their defenders, and because we have the read option on this play, they have to account for the QB, and if they do stay outside, then we can just hand it off, get downhill, and make so many huge plays on the ground. If they have their safeties back pre-snap, and if they play the QB, then this is just going to give you huge running lanes to use with your running back all game long. Now, the running back is one of the 3-star players for this offense, and the one who was most successful for the Ducks was LaMichael James. He was dynamic and explosive, and when you gave him the ball versus these light boxes, he could get to the second level and start making defenses pay. And for my running back, I am using Eric Dickerson, and he has the same ability to get into the open field and make people miss and be a workhorse running the ball to make this offense work. The next aspect here is if we see a light box, but then the DN crashes down on the running back, now we want to keep it to the outside with your QB and make the defense pay in the open field, and this is just going to give the defense no easy options. Then the next part that makes this play so good is the horizontal stretch we can put on the defense with our 2 screens to each side. So here pre-snap, look out to the bubble, and if they have no one over your slot receiver, then at the snap you can flip it out to him and get him behind your blocker and pick up those easy yards. Then same thing for your other screen. If they only have 1 DB out on that side, then you can go to your smoke screen, rack catch it, and you can pick up some really huge yards with this screen. Now, you would say the easy counter to this is bring your safeties down into the box and flip the numbers back to the defense's favor, but this is where you want to implement your pass game. And here we have the play fork wheel in doubles Y flex offset, and this is a great zone beating option versus a heavier box. Here, have the running back to the wide side, then take the outside wide receiver on the wide side and put him on a streak. The key for this play is once we get them loading the box, we know they have to be in cover 3 or cover 1, and this play shreds zone coverage. First, look to the wide side, and we have this nasty deep corner that will get in behind their flat defender for huge pickups down the field. Then we can work the middle of the field, and if the user runs with the corner route, then we have this backside Z post cutting in over the middle that will stay in front of the safety for another huge pickup. This also works if the user runs with the running back out of the backfield, then the middle of the field would be wide open for us to attack. Then we can also check it down to the running back if neither of the deeper routes are open, or if they get quick pressure in at us. Then lastly, if we ever call this play versus cover 2, then we can look to the wheel route. Here the Z post will get jammed and ran inside, and the wheel will get a free release in behind him. Then this Z post will hold the deep safety in, and then you can fire this into the hole deep down the field for a huge pickup. Now, this Chip Kelly Oregon offense is all part of a bigger scheme I am releasing, all built around the modern spread offense that has taken over college football. There are going to be 5 spread offenses on the way, all from the last 15 years, and they are some of the most explosive and dynamic we have ever seen. Now let me know down in the comments who you want the 5 teams to be. Then each one of them will be built in the spread playbook, so they are all actually meant to be used together as one big scheme as they get released. So we are in the spread playbook for this Ducks offense, and we will be breaking down these 3 formations. The next aspect that Kelly implemented was adding his QB to the run game. This was designed to flip the numbers in the offense's favor when they ran the ball. By forcing the defense to account for the QB, then this allowed you to keep a player unblocked, freeing up your O-line to pick up more players in the run game. Then if they didn't account for the Ducks QB, then he would just get to the open field and make plays. Here we are using motion triple option and gun slot offset. Here have your slot receiver to the wide side, then we are going to snap the ball, and we're going to have this running back motion where it looks like he's going to run a swing pass out of the backfield, but then he stops. Then we are going to have a normal read option on the inside, and if the read player stays on the QB, then we just want to hand this ball off and get downhill and start making some plays versus these lighter boxes. pass. Then if the read player crashes down, then you can get into the open field and start making plays with your legs. And this can be super explosive when you have an athletic quarterback who can make people miss and has the speed to make big plays. Then lastly, if the read defender crashes down, then we can actually flip it out to your running back, and this turns into a triple option. Now he will be in the open field with very little defenders around him. When you get this flip right, you can really make people pay, and this is how I picked up some of my most explosive runs in this whole Oregon Ducks offensive scheme. And the best during the Ducks run was Marcus Mariota. He was an unbelievable athlete who can make plays on the ground, and he was the perfect fit for this offense, but he was also a dynamic passer who could deliver strikes all over the field, and this was all capped off when he won the Heisman Trophy in 2014. In this scheme, I'm using Michael Vick, who brings all the same running elements to the table and has a huge arm to push the ball down the field, and I do have set feet lead on him to make sure I can get extra zip on the ball. The next aspect was the Ducks' use of package plays or constraint plays. This is where we can run a certain play where we read a defender who then will dictate where we go with the ball, like an RPO. Or we can have plays that work off of each other, so we could have a swing motion where we throw it to the swing player and let him make a play in space. But then the next time we run this swing motion, now we have a counter off of it where we actually pass the ball over the defense's heads. So here we are starting with RPO, peak, zone, bubble, and gun slot offset. Here I have the slot to the wide side, then snap the ball, and the running back will motion out of the backfield, and we can fire it out to him, and he will have two blockers out in front. You can pick up some huge yards down the field with this play. This is one of the best plays you will find to get your running back onto the edge and make plays in the open field, and this can be a super explosive addition to your scheme. Then if the user runs out and is trying to take this away, then you can just hand the ball off the middle, and now you're gonna have less players in the box, and you can get downhill and make some big plays on the ground. Then off of this, we're gonna have motion spot in slot offset, and this works best versus zone coverage. Here I have the slot to the wide side, then take the outside receiver and put him on a streak, then put the backside player on a slant. Here we will have the same motion across the field. Now we want to pull the user out to the running back, and when we snap it, he will be so far out of position, and now we can hit this corner route deep down the field, getting in behind their flat defender for a big gain. Then if the corner route isn't opened after the snap, then we have this slant attack in the middle of the field, and the user is going to be so far out of position he should be wide open. Then if after the snap you notice the whole defense is staying way back and the user stayed in the middle of the field, then we can throw it to the running back. We motioned out, now he will have a ton of green grass, and we can get out into the open field and make some big plays. Now if you want to unlock even more for this scheme, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now is part 2 of this video where I give you guys 8 more plays out of these 3 formations. It includes some really explosive run plays, some amazing man-beating options, and just a ton of other ways to attack zone coverage. Then there's also a ton more on the site for this spread offense, making one of the best, most explosive schemes in all of Madden 23. Then there's a ton more on the site, like my Chiefs West Coast spread offense and my Alabama Nick Saban defense, and so much more. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I will leave a link for it down in the description below. The next part of the offense that Chip Kelly loved was his use of gadget plays to get his playmaker out in space. This could be anything from jet passes to a slot receiver where he could attack the edge of the defense with a ton of speed, or even just his use of bubble screens to force defenses to stay spread out, or he would just make them pay on the edges all game long. The first play we're looking at here is RPO, orbit, bubble, and doubles offset weak. Here I have the tight end to the short side, then snap the ball, and the solo receiver will motion across the field in behind the quarterback, and now he will bubble out and get in behind the 2 blockers, and you can fire it out to him and start letting him make plays in the open field, and you can get crazy explosive with this play. This is a great way to get your receiver the ball in space, and once again, this is going to put a horizontal stretch on the defense. Then if at the snap the user leaves the middle to make a play on the receiver, then you can just hand this ball off and let your running back get downhill and rack up some big yards on the ground. Now the player that Chip would use all the time in these positions, and the 3rd star of this offense, was DeAnthony Thomas. He was one of the most dynamic players with the ball in his hands that college football has ever seen, and he was completely electric on these sort of gadget plays. For my slot player, I'm using Steve Smith, who can do all the same things with the ball in his hands and has great speed to make plays. Then I do have short in elite on him to make sure he can separate versus man coverage and make plays versus those defenses. Then to have a complete offense, you still need to be able to drop back and deliver strikes even when the defense knows that you are passing the ball. And though this wasn't the main component of Chip's Oregon offense, he still needed to have some dynamic plays to go to. First, we have PA bubble Y over and doubles offset weak, and this is a great zone beating play. Here at the tight end of the wide side, then motion him across the field, and he will go to this unique H-back roll. Then you want to take the slot receiver and put him on a slant. slant. Now the first read here is going to be the tight end, and he's going to run this super deep corner that will get behind any flat defender, and this is going to be wide open for huge pickups down the field. This is one of my favorite deep passing plays in the whole playbook and will allow you to pick up so many big plays down the field. Then another aspect of this play is if we call this against cover 2, then this backside deep post will actually split the two safeties, with the short side safety getting pulled down by our tight end, and you can bomb them deep down the field for a huge gain versus cover 2 defenses. Then for checkdowns on this play, we have our slant and running back. You just want to read the flat defender, and if he stays shallow, you can throw this slant in over his head and rack catch it and make plays. And then if the flat defender stayed back, you could just check it down to the running back in the flat. Then next we have sail in doubles offset weak, and this is a great man beating play. Here have the tight end to the short side of the field, then there is no adjustments, but if you are getting blitzed, you can block your running back. Now the one thing we do want to do here is motion out our slot receiver. This will actually motion him in a few steps, then we snap the ball while he is moving. This will make his corner route shoot way more inside. Then when he breaks out, he will absolutely lose the defensive back, sometimes by 10 plus yards, and you can just fire this to the outside for a huge pickup down the field. Then we do want either short and elite or route tech on this player, and it will help him even get more separation and make this route absolutely unstoppable for your offense. Then next we have this deep post, and if they have no safety in the middle, this is a great option. And here we want to make sure we have a route tech on this player. It will activate, you will get crazy separation, and you can bomb them over the top for a huge gain. Then for the third and fourth reads on this play, we have a whip from our tight end and a dig cutting in over the middle, and you can go to either player, giving us two more great options versus man coverage on this play. This Chip Kelly Oregon offense will allow you to be amazing offensively, but to win more games in Madden, you have to be able to beat every style of man coverage because it is so common in the game right now. So I designed a new offense specifically to attack man coverage, and it is also in the spread playbook just like this Oregon scheme, so they can be used together. Now to check that scheme out and start shredding man coverage, you need to check out this video right here.